Ladies and gentlemen, in this story, OP finds out that he is not the biological father of his own child. But as it turned out, this was not the worst thing. And so, let's listen. I have been in a committed marriage with my wife for 15 years, and we have a son together. My family includes my mother, father, sister, and younger brother. Last year, I discovered my wife crying in our bedroom. I comforted her, and she revealed that she was pregnant. Initially, I was thrilled and expressed my happiness to her. However, her expression suddenly changed, and she left the room without further explanation. It was a strange time for us both. I also noticed that my wife was spending an excessive amount of time on the phone. Due to the high COVID situation, I was taking care of her alone, doing all the cooking and cleaning myself. Despite the challenging circumstances, she gave birth to a beautiful and healthy baby girl who looked just like her mother. The baby was absolutely adorable. However, fast forward to last month, and my younger brother began visiting us frequently. At first, I thought it was fine, but then his visits became an everyday occurrence. But he's my baby brother, and I love having him around. We decided to stay with our parents for 2 weeks, during which time I noticed my wife getting uncomfortably close to my brother. As the primary breadwinner for both families, I was responsible for managing my father's several shops. Additionally, as an investment banker, I was always busy. However, whenever I returned home, I observed my wife and brother spending a great deal of time together, which struck me as odd, since she was previously close with my sister. In addition to my wife's strange behavior, I also observed my sister spending more time with me. I had a feeling that something was amiss and that my sister wanted to confide in me. Despite my repeated inquiries, she insisted that everything was fine. Last week, my father requested that I join him for some fishing, just the two of us. I accepted, and during our time together, he shared stories about fish and his memories of fishing with his own father. He went on to express how proud he was of me and how grateful he was to have me as a son. I had a hunch that there was more to my father's request than just a simple fishing trip. During our time together, he expressed his disappointment in my younger brother, who lacked ambition and struggled with addiction to alcohol. While my father wasn't particularly close to my brother, my mother had a stronger bond with him. As we prepared to leave, my father handed me the fishing gear and a small piece of paper. When I opened it, my entire world was turned upside down. It was a DNA test. I'm not the biological father of my daughter. When I hurried back to our family home, everyone was present and confronted my wife and brother about their affair. They both admitted to it and expressed remorse, claiming it was a mistake. I later discovered that they had been involved for a year and were in love with each other. My wife tried to comfort me by acknowledging that she couldn't undo what had happened and would always feel apologetic towards me. Despite the situation, I strived to be an ideal husband, father, and son. My capability to be a desirable partner was hindered as I spent an excessive amount of time at work. Although I made an effort to take my significant other on 2 vacations annually and planned date nights once or twice a month, we only engaged in physical intimacy 2 or 3 times a week. During the chaos, my sister admitted that she was aware of the situation, but couldn't bring herself to inform me at that moment. As the commotion continued, my mother arrived with the baby and disclosed that my wife and brother already had a child together. Moreover, my brother became attached to the baby. My mother advised me to accept the situation and move forward, emphasizing that I was the elder brother and should forgive them. I confronted her, expressing my disbelief that my own family could betray me in such a manner. After informing my wife of the affair, I made it clear that I refuse to be in a marriage where I must compete with other men, even if one of them is my own brother. I proceeded to inform her that divorce papers would be filed. To my brother, whom I had always defended, I expressed my disappointment and labeled him a backstabber. My phone continuously rang with messages and calls. My father reached out to apologize and offer his support, but he was unable to speak freely due to my mother's presence. My father apologized for being an inadequate parent and revealed that my mother was aware of the affair, but chose not to disclose it to me. I expressed my indifference towards their actions, announcing that I no longer wished to be part of a family that betrayed me. Furthermore, I informed my father that he could disown me after the divorce. I have yet to inform my soon-to-be ex-wife's family of the situation. Despite filing for divorce, my ex-wife persistently contacts me over 100 times daily, claiming that my son longs for me. My brother has yet to make contact with me. My sister expressed regret for not informing me of the affair and acknowledged that she failed to be a supportive sibling. She praised me for being her role model and expressed pride in me. Despite their apologies, I have not responded to any of them. My mother contacted me, emphasizing that everyone makes mistakes and suggested that we could reconcile and become a family again if I chose to forgive. She hinted that my children require a father figure, and if I couldn't fulfill that role, my brother could take my place in taking care of the family. My mother cautioned me that the court would not award me custody of my children and hinted that if she supported me, it could harm my case. This infuriated me, and I promptly blocked her. For the past 2 days, I have not communicated with any of them. Divorce proceedings can be costly in this region, but it is what it is. I have not confided in anyone about the situation and have been unable to eat or sleep well. In just a week, I feel like I have lost everything that gave my life meaning. My family, my wife and children, and my self-respect. I am engulfed with despair as I fail to see any purpose in my life. I consulted with my lawyer, who disclosed that I am legally obliged to provide spousal support and that acquiring primary custody of my children will be challenging. The divorce process in this region is costly, and I am anticipating a monthly payment of around $900, which encompasses spousal support for my wife and daughter, as well as a 50-50 custody agreement for my son and half of our assets. Furthermore, I realized my mistake in writing DNA test. It was, in fact, a paternity test that confirmed with 99% accuracy that my brother fathered my daughter. Update. I wanted to provide a brief update on my current situation. Unfortunately, things have not improved as I had hoped and have actually worsened. After discovering the truth, I left the house and took the necessary steps to organize my finances, consult with lawyers, and begin the process of divorce. I received the official papers this past Friday. However, my wife recently came to speak with me and expressed that she does not want a divorce, citing our son as the main reason. She apologized and took responsibility for her actions. However, I made it clear that I still want a divorce and proceeded to hand her the necessary paperwork. Despite this, she attempted to initiate intimacy, which I firmly rejected, and asked her to leave. The following day, my sister, who is currently on vacation from the Netherlands, reached out to me and we had a conversation about the situation. She expressed her own apologies and explained that she had been in a difficult position, as our mother had begged her not to reveal the truth to me. According to my sister, our mother was concerned about my well-being and how I would handle the news, which is why she chose to keep it from me. Additionally, my younger brother played a role in pressuring our mother to keep quiet. While this explanation provided some clarity, it still doesn't alleviate the pain and hurt caused by their actions. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to spend time with my son and took him to a popular gaming zone. During our time together, I shared with him my intentions regarding the divorce. He then shared with me that my mother has been grieving every day and my wife has been struggling with feelings of loss. After discussing the situation with my sister, we both agreed to remove ourselves from the family and forfeit any inheritance. As a result, I have decided to distance myself from the family and relocate to a different country. My sister has offered to assist me with my relocation. Although it has been a year since the divorce proceedings began, it remains a challenging and arduous process. The days are filled with anguish and distress, particularly when I reflect on the events that led to the divorce. I've lost track of how many times I have become physically ill, with both my blood pressure and sugar levels dangerously low. Yesterday, I received a call from my father informing me that my mother had been hospitalized after suffering a severe stroke. During lunch, my mother collapsed at the table and was rushed to the hospital. Her condition is quite serious, and my father informed me that she expressed a desire to see me. The doctor has advised us to pray for her recovery, as her condition is not yet stable enough for discharge. My wife is currently managing everything while my brother plans to visit briefly before departing. Meanwhile, my newborn daughter, son, and father are all with my wife at the hospital. My father believes this may be the end and has urged me to visit. I have shared this with my sister, who is struggling with conflicting emotions. To be frank, I have mixed feelings about visiting my mother. While a part of me wants to see her, the majority of me does not. Despite the fact that she is my mother, she made a conscious decision to betray me, to cause me pain, and to side with my wife instead of me. It was not the infidelity that hurt me the most, nor was it the fact that my wife chose my brother over me. Rather, what hurt the most was the betrayal of my entire family, who knew about the situation and chose to keep it from me. The most painful part of this situation was the realization that my own mother placed more value on her relationship with my other brother, and even went so far as to threaten to cut me off from the family. And now, despite everything that has happened, she is in the hospital and wants to see me. Numerous relatives have visited my mother in the hospital, and unfortunately, word of my wife's affair has spread to a select few. During one visit, my favorite uncle unleashed a verbal attack on my wife and brother, hurling the most despicable insults at them. It took my teenage son's intervention to calm him down. I have discussed the situation with a few close friends, who are advising me to move on, divorce my wife, move to a new country, and find someone else to settle down with. However, I am feeling lost and uncertain about what to do next. At present, I am unable to make any plans for the future, as I am still struggling to come to terms with everything that has happened. I have also consulted with my lawyer, who informed me that I would be entitled to my share of the inheritance if my mother did not leave a will. However, I would not be able to receive anything if I willingly give up my inheritance, or if my mother chooses to disinherit me. Although I have no interest in the inheritance or being a part of this family, my top priority is being with my son so that I can escape this toxic environment and regain my sanity. Determining paternity may prove to be more challenging than the divorce process. Infidelity is not always a decisive factor in many countries, but being a stay-at-home mom can have devastating consequences. Nevertheless, if I can relinquish my inheritance share, it may give me an advantage and exempt me from paying spousal support, depending on mutual agreement. Additionally, I discovered that I can file a complaint against my brother, who happens to be the affair partner in my country. Since my son is underage, I am eligible to obtain a restraining order against both my wife and brother. Substance abuse is not acceptable in my country, particularly when it comes to minors, which gives me some optimism. However, I am currently struggling with my mother's health condition. It is unbelievable how much can change in just 3 weeks, and I must admit that this is the most challenging period of my life. Despite everything, my son is my main priority and the only thing preventing me from speaking out. This is my final update, and there is a lot that I want to express. As I write this, my hands tremble and I feel queasy. Though I have much to express, I am unable to find the words. Today is Sunday, a supposedly good day, but one filled with mixed emotions. After being together for almost 16 years, our marriage officially ended in the wee hours of today as our divorce was finalized. I am torn between happiness and sadness, as I still hold affection for the woman who was once my second love. She has left me shattered, and I am speechless. As an update, our custody agreement is structured as follows. I am the legal guardian of my son until he turns 20, while my wife is the legal guardian of our daughter until she reaches puberty. After that, until her marriage, I will be her legal guardian. As my daughter is only 10 months old, she will spend these initial years with her mother, but I can visit her at my convenience. It is worth noting that in my country, a birth certificate is not issued until the child reaches 1 year of age. I have not yet signed the papers, but I will do so soon. After all, she is my daughter. As part of the agreement, I will have to provide spousal support for 3 years, and child support will continue until my children reach the age of 18. In total, I will be paying around 20% of my income, which amounts to approximately $1,000. It is important to note that we are from Asia, and $1,000 holds significant value here. Fortunately, I am not liable for alimony payments. Instead, I only have to pay the Din Mar amount. Due to infidelity being a significant factor where I reside, I did not have to divide our assets. I did offer my wife one of my apartments, not for her, but for my daughter's sake. Despite her wrongdoing, I want my children to have a comfortable living environment, and I cannot put them in harm's way. Thus, I agreed to transfer the apartment to her name so they will have a secure place to reside. Her family has completely disowned her, and as a result, she will be living alone. However, her mother will be reaching out, and her sisters will assist her in taking care of my daughter. After our divorce, my ex-wife and I had a conversation. I could tell she hadn't slept well. She expressed gratitude for our years together, asked for my forgiveness, and this time I granted it. We both wished each other well and parted ways. I know she was heartbroken, and so was I. This was perhaps for the best. Given the property inheritance my mother received, I decided to resign from my job, as it was no longer necessary. I intend to take a few months off to unwind. The moment I signed the finalized papers, it felt like an enormous burden had been lifted off my shoulders. I am scheduled to visit my mom shortly and spend the night at my house. As I approach my 40th birthday, I recall mentioning that I'm not interested in dating and that my youth has passed. At the age of 40, most people start to plan for their retirement and prepare for their children's future. However, I feel like I am starting anew at this age. During New Year's, I met a cousin of a friend who was only 29, and I was immensely impressed by her. She turned out to be the therapist I had been searching for, and I could finally confide in someone. On January 14th, we met again at a party, and after getting drunk, we ended up in bed together. I am not proud of my action. I am still burdened with guilt over what happened between us. We eventually became friends, and I learned that she was about to get engaged, but unfortunately, her boyfriend passed away. It took her 7 years to overcome her grief, and she attempted to date others during that time, but it never worked out. My wife is aware of her existence, but I am unsure of how she feels about her. Recently, we have not communicated nor slept together, and I have not even asked her how she feels. The situation is chaotic, and within the past 4 months, a lot has changed, and my life has been significantly impacted. I am immensely proud of my son and how he has grown up. As mentioned earlier, I had plans to visit the Netherlands, but I have decided to cancel them. This is the place where I was born, and it holds a significant place in my family's history. My forefathers were born and buried here, and I want to ensure that my sons and their future generations are aware of their legacy and history. Unfortunately, I don't see how I can achieve that in the Netherlands. I declined my girlfriend's request to visit, so tonight I'll be alone. I purchased a bottle of Jack Daniels, unsure of what the future holds. I don't feel any particular way, just nauseous and desiring a peaceful sleep. It all feels like a bad dream that I wish I could forget. I'm uncertain if I'll ever have a positive relationship with my brother, mother, father, or even my ex-wife again. Everything has changed. Despite this, I still hold respect for her as the mother of my children and will do my best to be there for her. Additionally, my ex-father-in-law has reached out to me. He expressed regret for not being able to provide his daughter with proper parenting. It's a common occurrence in life where we invest our time, money, and effort only to realize that our choices don't always matter. This is a sacrifice that both men and women make. I have great admiration for those who have endured traumatic experiences, such as divorce. I've often questioned whether I made the right decision by ending my marriage. The question of whether I made the right choice still lingers in my mind. It's uncertain if I'll ever be able to overcome the betrayal I've experienced, or if I'll be able to start anew. However, for tonight, I'm alone. My son is spending the night at my mom's house. This marks a new chapter in my life. Here's to the journey ahead of me. Thank you all for your support.